Welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge. I am Amanda Cromhope from Truth Loyalty and the Blind Loyalty Trust. We interview world leaders in loyalty blindly. The challenge is about creating loyalty insight spontaneously and about a lot of fun. Simultaneously, it is about raising the awareness of the Blind Loyalty Trust, and 100% of the proceeds from my book, Blind Loyalty 101 Loyalty Concepts Radically Simplified, go towards the trust. We hope you enjoy the Blind Loyalty Challenge. For today's Blind Loyalty Challenge, I need to do no introduction, I'm sure, but I have Joe Ashdown, who's Managing Director of Mando. Joe was tagged by Charlie Hills. Charlie and I are both guest hosts on Let's Talk Loyalty, Loyalty TV. And Joe, great to have you. I know you're on the back of the third release of your European white paper. So first of all, congratulations and welcome to the Blind Loyalty Challenge.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So straight up, your first question, I always love this because I'm not responsible for how hard the first question is, was set by Fernando Olvera from Viva Aerobus in Mexico. And I particularly, out of the questions available, chose this one because it's about partnerships, which I know obviously at Mando you're a deep specialist in, so it should be easy. But his question is, how do you actually prove and measure the value of loyalty to partners when they're coming together in a coalition?
Well, we're really lucky at Mando. We've been going for 8 years now, and we've worked with a plethora of clients. And on average, we deliver around 500 different partnerships a year for our clients. So what that does is gives us a really rich database and loads of insight into what works in terms of partnerships, whether that's by sector, category, mechanic, and we can split that. Obviously, what we don't want to be doing is sharing specific data that is in relation to clients, but we can aggregate all of that and we can give other clients a really good view of the type of partnerships that's going to work with them. So we've got all of that data. And then obviously we've got our partnership with YouGov, and they're obviously, contributors to the European Loyalty White Paper and our British Loyalty White Paper. So we can also do a deep dive into audiences and look at brand preferences, etc., which again is just another really rich data source that enables us to kind of make sure that we're taking the subjectivity out of partnerships and we're actually looking at the data to prove that they are very likely to work. Obviously, you never know what consumers are going to do, but we can give a really good view very early on.
Amazing. Golden. Absolutely golden. I'd love it. So my second question, in Blind Loyalty, I've got two chapters, chapter 60 and 61, around sustainability and loyalty in the environment. In fact, Charlie was a contributor to 60 or 61. And we've just released the South African Loyalty White Paper, where the South African consumer base has said, we don't really see any great connection between loyalty and sustainability because there's actually not bigger, but different issues at play in this market. But we're seeing elsewhere in the world very different statistics. So in your opinion, how important a role can loyalty play in sustainability activities?
I don't want to repeat what Charlie has said. I think the challenge at the moment is, and we are definitely in this challenge in 2025 with a certain American friend or foe of ours. I think the challenge is economically, people are very, very value driven at the moment. And that is a trend that we're seeing globally, especially seeing it in the UK. And although there were indicators that we were kind of coming out of that economic slump, I don't think 2025 is going to be a good year for anyone. So I think sustainability right now is probably a nice to have. It's the cherry on top. It's not necessarily the thing that consumers are really looking for in loyalty. However, I think, to echo what Charlie said in a previous podcast, it would be very wise to just completely dismiss the idea of sustainability and loyalty, because I think as and when we do start coming out of this economic slump, that's when people start looking more towards other things that treat things, sustainability, all of those other things, rather than being so value driven. So I think it's about, we absolutely have to focus on the now, but don't take your eye off of what consumers are going to be looking for in the future.
Yeah, and I think listening to you, like that's if I look at the South African marketplace where we are not seeing the same, we're actually not as badly immediately impacted by some of the global waves and tsunamis happening. But there's other issues, and I just think it's market specific as well. You can trigger different
Yeah. And I think it might be the differentiator between you and another brand. So I think,
yeah,
ultimately people are going to make those choices. And if you have a really good sustainability policy within your loyalty program, or you're highlighting that, then that might help you stand apart from your competitor. So I think from that point of view, it's really important. One thing we have noticed is more around CSR rather than sustainability, is that consumers, you need to be very careful with the messaging, because if you're putting the onus on them to be more sustainable or them to be more charitable, sometimes that can actually have a negative effect and a negative impact, because actually consumers are looking at brands and what they are doing and they want to make sure that the brand isn't putting the onus on them for that behavior, but the brand is demonstrating their behavior first. So there are
yeah,
some
yeah.
nuances in there that, as brands, we need to be, and loyalty programs, we need to be really mindful of when looking at CSR, when looking at sustainability.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't have the opposite effect otherwise. My
Exactly.
last, my last question. So, chapter 50 in Blind Loyalty talks about by invitation only. What is your either favorite or professional favorite of a by invitation only loyalty example?
Oh, by invitation only. I don't know if I'm posh enough to even know of one of those, but I've really admired for a long time Coots Bank's loyalty program. So that's very, very high end, ultra high net worth and niche. But they used to have they've changed it slightly recently into more of a points based program, which I don't love as much. But a while ago, they used to have a program called Thank You, which was just an acknowledgement of an individual relationship with that bank, and then giving you a thank you for being a customer of theirs. So it felt really exclusive, and it just felt like an additional thank you, rather than asking that customer to do anything more in order to earn something. It felt like a genuine gift. So I think
Yeah.
that's a really nice example at that, and especially in an ultra high net worth audience that are extremely hard to target. That was kind of one of my favorites at the time.
Stunning. Absolutely stunning. Well, you're posh enough for me, Joe, so don't worry.
Thank you.
So we conclude the blind loyalty challenge that you've sailed through. I'm clearly making this way too easy. Who would you like to tag to do this conversation with me again?
So I'm going to tag Isabel Finlayson. She is the Vodafone VeryMe loyalty manager. She also used to work at Mando Connect. So it would be really interesting to kind of get her point of view, because she's worked at an agency and now she's gone client side. So I'm sure she'll have some interesting things to say.
Yeah, I know of Isabel, so that'd be great. It'd be lovely to connect with her. Thank you. And then not necessarily for Isabel, but think of a super hard question for someone else who I'm going to interview.
Well, I was just at the European Loyalty Summit in Stockholm, which was very good. And obviously, one of the big topics coming out in that conference was around AI. Of course, everyone's talking about it. So, my question is, what is going to be the role of AI in loyalty in the next 5 years?
Great. Yeah, hot topic. I always laugh when we get asked to talk about trends and AI is like up there, number one. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
what's
So,
everyone
sorry
doing?
about that, whoever's getting that question.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they get they'll be watching hopefully, and then everyone will rehearse it. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I knew you'd breeze through. It was great to connect, and thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.